Hey, it's Heather here. This is just gonna be kind of random because, like I stated in my last video, I got a lot out about everything that I've been wanting to talk about, and so I'm just kind of kicking it today, I guess, or whatever. Plus, I just woke up, so there's not really too much going on in my mind. No depressed thoughts, or anything like that. I actually slept pretty decent. I think I had a dream about, it was just weird. Because if it was a dream, it was like the most realistic dream that I've had. Because it was like in my apartment type dream, and I was like, okay. And it was very simplistic, and it didn't even, it's like, why would that even be a dream? Thank you. But, anyways. I just woke up, just walked the dogs, the cat's meowing. It might be because he's cold. I got the heater on him because it is cold in here. I usually have like 2 or 3 little heaters that I use during the wintertime. And my last two, Clarabelle, please. There. But, I usually have 2 or 3, and I've been meaning to get out to the store and get one. And last time I was out at the store with my friend, because I don't have a ride, and she took me or whatever, I forgot to get one, so it's pretty cold in here. And oh my god, my other cat just used his litter box, and it smells absolutely disgusting. Oh my god, where's some spray, something? That's horrible. Damn. First thing in the morning. You know what? I'm gonna go to my bedroom. There we go. But, anyways, dang on, just woke up. And I was walking my dogs, and my dog Una, she's the most friendly or whatever and social. She's just like a little social butterfly for as far as the dog goes, and she's very hyper. She's not trained real well off people or anything. Yes, you stunk the living room up. And my cat just come around the corner. But anyways, my neighbor, which is the landlord's sister, which we've not got along the best or whatever, but she pet my dog, and I don't mind, because it's socialization for my dog and everything, but it's just it's kind of like I'm in this state where it's we haven't been friends. You've been mean to me for as far as I'm concerned, a few times since I've been living here over whatever. And my dog begs for attention from anybody that's close enough or whatever. And so I was just like, whatever. Let her pet her. Another thing, too, that's going on is the road crew's out here again, where I live. And they took up what they were doing because I guess they found out that it wasn't the best or something. I don't know. But it's I feel like they look at me weird or something, because one day I went out there and my friend Jennifer, she would sit in this specific spot to get her kid, and I had this little, just cheap plastic chair, and I was like, I'm going to set that out there, that way she's not having to sit on the curb or whatever. And so I set it out there. Well, it was really windy the next day, and so it blew the chair away, and it blew my trash can lid off and all kinds of stuff. And where they'd put out wooden posts, and where they've put them out so many damn times, marking what the fuck ever, and there's been several times that they've got hit by cars, or they've just fell over because they weren't putting the ground that good due to time and how long they was out there, and then even probably getting hit with the weed eater whenever the landlord would mow and weed eat or whatever. And so if they were laying down on the ground, I would just take them and use them over, because they've been doing this shit for I don't know, months upon months, a year, I guess. Yeah, probably. And So, hell, they've been doing it longer than that, I do believe. Jesus Christ, 2 years. And so, yeah. And, I have decorations that I typically put out. I'm usually a big holiday person and stuff. And so, a little wooden post, to put in the ground to like hang lights and stuff on, hell, if it's just laying there, it's done fell over, it's not in the ground anymore because they hadn't been out to do what they're supposed to do or whatever, I would, collect them, I guess. But then I got so many of them and I was like, I ain't gonna have that many lights and whatever, so I was just like, shit on it, And then that's another thing too. Oh my god, the cable cords that they've just cut down from the lines and stuff. Like, or not cable cords, but just cords or whatever. Like wires and stuff. They've just thrown down, left them, and leave them for months and months and months. I've thrown away 3 of those suckers. Do you know how hard it is to fit those inside of a damn trash bag? It's really hard when it's like 25 fucking feet of the shit or more, and you got a little tiny trash bag and you're trying to shove it down in it because you don't want your landlord being like, that's your part of the property, so that's your mess. And so I end up throwing them away because they're just sitting there collecting dust. And I'm like, why can't they dispose of these, And I'm not going to go out there to them and be like, hey, take your shit with you and throw it away, But at the same time, I'm kind of like, really, guys? It's been here 3 months, just sitting here, like, and it's not going to disintegrate into the ground. Like, if it does, it's going to be long after we're dead and gone, Like, way long after we're dead and gone. But, my dogs are such dorks. They gotta follow me everywhere. They're both in here. Clarabelle, please stop that. But, so, I took this chair out for my friend Jen to sit in. That way she wouldn't have to sit on the curb and stuff to get her kid off the bus. And the wind blew it over. And so one day I was out there and I was like, I wonder if I can get one of these, newer little posts or whatever, these little wooden posts out of the ground and put it in the back of the chair that way, and like put it back where it was at, but, kind of have the chair pinned down with it. That way, fucking wind won't blow it away. And so I was trying to figure out how to do that one day, and one day, like, the road crew people come out or whatever, like, while I was doing that, like, they literally pulled in as I was doing that, and they just looked at me funny, like, what is she doing? Why is she messing with our stuff? And I thought, I'm not messing with your stuff, like, I was just like, but I am, but I'm not. I'm not doing anything criminal. I'm gonna put it right back if I can even get it out of the fucking ground, and I couldn't, because the ground was cold and hard and everything, and so I was just like, fuck it. But it's like, I feel like they look at me weird ever since then. I don't know. Or maybe they just look at me and they're just looking, I don't know. And like I said, like, being, in my previous video, like, being antisocial because my dad's like, oh, the world's out to get you type person. And then my kid's dad being like, I have eyes and ears everywhere and I know where you're going and I know what you do. And that's the damn thing too, is at one point in time, this road crew, he was working for him. So I'm just like, shit. Because he even, this was just within like, what? Or at least he told me he was. And it seemed like he was. Because, he was like, yeah, I'm just working right across the road here. And I was like, huh? And he's like, yeah, I'm with the construction or road crew or whatever over here. And I was like, oh, shit. And it's just stuff like that that's just made me, really, like, paranoid, I guess. And it's like, but I'm not. Like, I want to socialize. I want to get along with people. But I don't like people just looking at me and not saying nothing. And it's like, when I was out walking my dogs, it's like this one guy just kind of stared. And granted, he may have been looking at something else, and I've tried to dismiss that and be like, it's just in your head, it's just in your head. There's not that many people looking at you. There's not that many people looking at you. And it's just in your head, and it's just in your head. But when it's almost every person you ever come into contact with that it seems like they're looking at you, it kind of freaks you the fuck out, because you're like, that's just too many. That's just too many for it to be coincidental and that nobody's looking at me. And then I've said stuff like that to like people, like I've said shit like that even to my husband, and he's like, well, maybe people just think that you're really pretty. And I was like, well, I wish they would fucking stop. Like, that was my response to that. And he just kind of looked at me like, oh shit, you know. And I was like, because it's not funny. I was like, and I don't want to hear that I'm pretty. I was like, because I heard that I was pretty all the fucking time when I was a kid growing up from perverted pieces of shit, you know. And I'm like, so I don't want people to think that I'm pretty. And he's like, okay, well, maybe they think that you're beautiful. And I'm like, still, I'm like, and I mean, I get that, you know, I'm not like no type of fucking model or any type of shit or anything, but I've been told by a lot of people that I'm attractive, and I'm just like, you're full of shit. If I was attractive, then I would have had one person I would have been with, and I would have been with them for the rest of my life, because I would have been so attractive that I could have had the shittiest personality on the face of the planet. And, you know, because there's people that it's like that for them. They have the worst fucking personality traits and just the worst ways about them. And, you know, now granted, I don't know, people in Hollywood, their lives is kind of falling apart finally. And I hate to say that, like, finally, you know, but like, there's been a lot of people, you know, that have done good and stuff, and at keeping, you know, some relationships halfway decent and everything, but I don't know, I'm just a mess, I guess. But I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm pretty. I want people to leave me alone. Carrie. Let mommy have some too. But, I don't know. I'm just weird. Just really weird like that, I guess. Like, I don't know. Because I really don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to think of if people do just think that I'm pretty, you know, and they're just, like, looking at me, you know, or if people are trying to figure out what I'm doing, because it makes me feel like people, that's one thing that it really makes me feel like people are doing. It makes me feel like people are suspicious of me, like they're trying to figure out what's going on in my head and what I'm thinking and what I'm doing, and I'm just like, I'm not thinking or doing anything. I said let mommy have some. But, it's like I'm not thinking or doing anything. I'm just going about my little everyday life. And then, like, I've seen all this shit here lately where it's like, oh, men are afraid to ask, you know, a woman to go out on a date, and so they don't ask, and and shit like that. Or not recently, but over the years, I guess. And it's like, are we in elementary school, you know? And can your pride not handle being rejected and stuff? And then you got these men that are like, oh, I'm a man's man, you know, and I do everything real manly and shit. And it's like, okay, do you really? When's the last time, you know, you opened a car door for a woman? When's the last time you carried in all the groceries? When's the last time, you know, you did this, you did that? And it's like, oh, they hadn't. Because men, like, for as far as, there's a huge difference from my grandfather, which he's dead and gone, rest in peace, you know. There's a huge difference between him and the way men were then and the way men are now. And granted, I mean, there were still bad men, you know, and everything. And as a matter of fact, my great-grandfather cheated on my great-grandmother. I mean, but there's just a huge difference in behavior and the way that the amount of respect, like daily respect even and stuff. And I'm not saying that I want somebody that's going to cheat on me. Who the fuck would say that, you know? But I don't know. Like I said, I've just woke up and I'm just, I don't know, I'm in a weird mood. Kind of a little cranky, I guess. I'm trying to dishes with one hand. But I don't know. I don't know what this world's coming to. I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know why I'm alive. I used to think I'm just alive for my kid. Now my kid's not with me, and my kid's like all on this kind of, not I hate you, but kind of like, like kick with me, and I'm just like, excuse you, like, do you know? Do you know? Do you recognize? And honey, I think it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. But I don't know. Maybe I can sit down in here now without the stank kitty box. But it's like, I just like getting on here. I like vlogging. I like talking about things that I'm thinking about. I like expressing myself. I like going through... Tiger, shut up, please. I like talking about all the stuff that, like, I've been through and everything, but not in full detail 24/7, but then again, kinda so. I don't know. And it's like, that's another thing too, is like, I was going to counseling like I was told to by the courts, or like I was told to by the counselors and everything. Like, whenever I went there and had my evaluation done, they're like, you're depressed. And I'm like, nah, shit. I've been depressed. If you've lived my life, you might be, just a little, And it's like, it's not even... Like, I watched this tarot reading, like a week and a half ago? And, it was for Leos, which is what I am for as far as Western astrology. Now, in Vedic, I'm a Cancer. But, anyways, like, this woman, for as far as I know, does Western. And so I was watching it, and most people do. And she's doing a reading for Leos, and she's like, Leos, she's like, be prepared to go through some depression this month. And I was like, and she's like, but it's not you. She was like, it's not you, it's your environment. It's your environment. She's like, there is a difference between, being like regularly depressed, or whatever, like depression stemming from you, and then environmental depression. And it's your environment that you're in. And I was like, that has been the case my whole life, practically. I was like, it's not necessarily that I'm depressed. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I want to die, and let's just sit around and talk about death. And, it's not like that, even though I'm like, today I kind of thought, why ain't I dead, But it really is. It's the people and the places and everything. And it's like, for crying out loud, I live in a city, and I know there's not a lot of cities, from what I hear from everybody, like all the fucking time whenever I bitch or complain about it. But it's like, there's a lot of drug addicts here. A lot. I have nothing against them other than because they do drugs and I don't, and they want to and I don't want to. I feel completely and totally fucking left out. Wouldn't you, in any instance, like, say I was the only brunette in my town and everybody else is blonde? Like, it's gonna make you feel a certain way. And so that's the way that I feel, because literally, like, everybody that I know, everybody wants, and it's like, they even tiptoe around me, I've noticed. Like, because they kinda reach this point with me, like, when people first get to know me and hang out with me, they can tell that, I guess, I'm kind of babyish or whatever. I'm like this little innocent, what the fuck ever, but even though I'm not that innocent. And because I've talked about how I smoked pot once when I was 15. I got 2 CBs off of it. And I drank a sip of beer when I was 15. And then, like, I drank, like, a Smirnoff twisted green apple, like, when I was, like, 16 or whatever. Like, half of it. And then, like, literally, I haven't done anything else. And I smoked, like, a pack of cigarettes. Oh, and I did dip there for, like, 2 weeks or 2 months. I can't remember because I wasn't buying it. And I was just getting it off the guy that I rode on the school bus with, okay, in high school. Like, and like he would always like come in with like different flavors for me to try because he thought it was hilarious or whatever. And oh my god, the wintergreen, like that shit, that did not sit well with me. And oh my god, I loved him for the blueberry. Like there was a blueberry flavor that he brought. I loved that shit. But the wintergreen, like, I got a headache off that shit. Like, it was strong. It was real strong. But, anyways, like, and it was the pouches. Well, I take it back. Some of it was, some of it wasn't. It was just different kinds. Like, he just, you know. But, it's like, I've not done anything else. And it's like, so people, when they get around me, most of them won't tell me that they've done drugs. I'm usually the one that has to open up and be like, I smoked pot once when I was 15 and I ran into the fucking wall. Like, 'cause I turned around and my cousin talked to me for like 30 minutes, like, and I was at the doorway. And because I thought I was still at the doorway and I didn't realize that I'd turned away from it, like, and I just spun around real quick and started to walk and I ran into the fucking wall and then I laughed so hard. Like, it was pitiful. Like, I couldn't stand. And so I was pretty well done up. But God, I miss her. Like, it's my cousin that passed away. Like, Lord. It's like I thought she was precious and she thought I was precious. And, like, we just had this relationship or whatever. And she's the one that, she, from her dad's side of the family, which, I mean, I'm related to her through her mom, and her mom's kind of, and she's the one that's like, oh, I went to church and learned how to speak in tongues and all this and stuff or whatever. But her dad, he actually was a cop when he was younger, and then he lost his mind, is the best way to word it, and they found out he was paranoid schizophrenic and all kinds of stuff. But that was after, like, a bunch of drug use and stuff. And then my cousin was into a bunch of drug use, and she was diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic, bipolar, and something else. I don't even remember. And so anyways, that's just like a little bit of family health or history, not health, but family history right there. And like her and me getting along with her, like, so that, and my family thinks that I'm weird because I got along with her, and they're like, oh, you must be paranoid schizophrenic too, because you were able to get along with her. And I'm just like, it doesn't take you having the same mental disorder to get along with somebody, you know, like, you don't have to be like, yes, I have that mental disorder too, so that way I can get along with that person. No, it's that you have an inherent or whatever, like, you value life. And as long as nobody is causing you harm or trying to cause you harm, then you have no problem with them, you know? And especially, like, I mean, there's some people that have told me that, like, because I always wanted to be a teacher and stuff, there's people that have been like, you need to be a counselor, you need to study psychology, or you need to do this, or you need to do that, you need to be a nurse. Oh my God, I don't know how many times I've had people tell me that I need to be a nurse because they're like, you do good, you don't panic, this happened and you took care of it and you're not afraid of blood. And I'm like, no, it's just me doing what needs to be done at the time. Like, it's not that I want to do this every day, but it's just, if shit hits the fan while I'm around, I'm not gonna, and that's even like, this guy I was working with, he cut his, like, I don't even know what he did. Like, he somehow cut his, I think it was his pinky or his ring finger really bad at work. And, like, I didn't know what happened. Like, I'm like, standing there, like, where's the food? And the guy that's on table is, like, kind of, like, froze or whatever. And I'm like, what's the deal? And he's like, I'm waiting on a patty. And I look over at the guy that's supposed to be doing the grill, and I'm like, where's the patty? And he's like, it's coming. And he's down in the floor. And I'm like, why is he down in the floor? And he's on his knees. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he just, like, grabs his hand and he leans over his hand. And I'm just like, what the, and, like, I'm like, what the fuck in the back of my mind? And so I'm like, I don't want to give out his name, but I'm like, so-and-so, what is it? And I'm like, so-and-so, what is it? And he's not responding to me. And he's like, looking like he's fixing to pass out on the damn floor. And so I look at the other guy and I'm like, what is it? And he's like, I don't know. And then I started to run back there. And as I started to run back there, the manager came and stood where I was. And I hear her saying, what is it to him? What is it? What is it? And he's like, I cut my hand, And so I go back there to him and I'm like, can you make it to the sink for me? Can you make it to the sink for me? And he's like, yeah, I think so, And, like, his mind, like, he can't, he can't process blood or whatever. And there's plenty of people I've been around that's like that. Like, they can't process their own bleeding or what the hell ever. And I'm like, can you at least make it to the sink with me, And he's like, yeah, I think so. And so he made it to the sink, and I cut the cold water on, and I wrapped him up really good and applied pressure and everything. And luckily he didn't have to have stitches, even though he could have used some, but he didn't have to have them, so. But afterwards, he was like, thank you. He's like, I don't know where I would have been without you. And, like, it puts me in awe when people do that to me, because I react, and then that's, like, shit like that's happened a lot in my life, and people are like, you should be a nurse, you're not afraid of blood, you're not afraid of this, you're not afraid of that, and I'm just like, it's not that I'm not afraid of it, it's just that I'm not afraid to face it if I need to, and shit, like, I don't know, and, so I've had a lot of people tell me that, but also back to dealing with, like, how I got spun off into this topic and everything, is I've been told that since I like kids and I wanted to be a teacher and all this and everything. And another thing too is my cousin that was the paranoid schizophrenic and everything, through her dad's side of the family, there is a man, and he was, he's Down syndrome. He has Down syndrome and everything. I remember him from when I was a little girl, and he was in the wedding, and me and him talked, and he became my best friend, or whatever, and everything. He's very sweet, and he's always hugging on me, and since he's gotten older, it's kind of a little bit more perverted, I ain't even gonna lie, because, like, he probably ain't, been around women that much and stuff, and so it's like, let me put my head on your boobs, like, hug, and I'm just like, whatever, like, it is what it is, but, it's like, he still is very respectful. I mean, it's not like even in a perverted way, but like his mom will be like, that's a long enough hug, like, and like, I've adored this guy, like, since I met him, because he's just very sweet. And I actually seen him out at the movies, and his mom, it made me mad. I come within a hair of saying something to his mom, because his mom is very protective over him. And he was in line in front of me, and I didn't know if he would remember me, because his memories kind of came and went over the years. And so I didn't want to startle him and be like, I know you, do you know me? So I didn't say nothing to him, but he was in line in front of me and my daughter one day when we went out to the movies, and he bought a drink. And the drinks there are expensive at the theater. And so he turned back around to give his mom the change, and she's like, that can't be right. That's not right, and he's just like, yes, it is, or this is what they gave me back in change. And she's like, that can't be right. And so she asked them, and sure enough, it was right. It was the correct amount of change for the drink he had bought. And then she started griping about how that was ridiculous and that price. And I thought, well, then don't buy stuff at the theater, in the back of my head. Like, everybody that's anybody knows that theater prices aren't what they used to be back in the day, and so it is what it is. But I come within a hair of saying something to her and being like, don't get on to him. You know, like, don't do that. You're embarrassing him, for starters. He's a human being. He has feelings. He has emotions. And he's older than me. He's probably like 35, I guess. Or he might even be older than that. And I mean, it just, it lit my ass on fire. I ain't even gonna lie. But I've had people tell me, because I like kids and stuff, they're like, you should be a special needs teacher. And they're like, I think you'd do good with that. And then I've had other people that even like dealing with older people, they're like, oh, you should work at a nursing home and, take care of people and this and that and everything. And so I have people skills, I guess is the best way to word it. And so that's the thing that's really weird about me being antisocial, because I was taught to be antisocial because the way my dad treated me and the way that my kid's dad has just making me paranoid as hell, is it's like I really do have decent people skills, and I say decent, I'm not going to say great, because I'm an ambivert. And if you look that up, that means that you're half like extroverted and you're halfway introverted. And even when I did the personality test, I thought it was hilarious, because the girl that I ended up falling in love with or whatever over the past year, months, whatever. God, I'm so mad at her. But I don't want to mention her anymore because I'm trying to just let it go. But she's an introvert. And she told me that, like, straight up, one day. She's just like, yeah, I'm introverted, because I told her, I was like, I think I'm an ambivert, and I was like, but I'm not sure. So I just took this Myers-Briggs test, and it come up that I'm 49% extroverted and I'm 51% introverted. And I was like, that cannot be any more fucking perfect. I was like, holy shit. Because I have my days where it's like I need to recharge, I need to shut away from the world, and that's even like me quitting my job. And then my parents have been like, oh, you have, like my dad especially, he's been like, yeah, there's something wrong with you because you want to quit your job after a year. Okay, every job that I've worked so far, now granted I didn't work all of them a year, but I've worked most of them a year or 6 months. And the one that I quit, one of them that I quit, I didn't want to. I was forced to by my parents, is the best way to word it, because they were bitching every day. They were like, it's too far, it's too much gas money. And and then, like, there was shit going on at work, which there's always shit going on any place, and there was shit going on at work. And so on top of that, like, the shit going on at work and my parents riding my ass about it, I was just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. It's stressing me out. But it's like, that's how I get. I get really overwhelmed after a while. Like, I can go into a place and I can put in the best effort that I can give. I'm not perfect. I know I'm not. And I know I'm like scatterbrained and all kinds of stuff. But I'll put in the best effort that I can, And that's like even, because I was on the grill sometimes. And the way the woman taught me, well, for starters, she was Hispanic. And she didn't speak a lick of English, practically. Like, she didn't speak hardly any English other than okay and okay, baby. And so she's like, do this, and she could barely, she could say my name, but that was it, And so she trained me on grill. And my mind, when you train me to do something, even, like, unless you specify that it has to be done an exact way when you're training me, I don't know. And then even at that, like, sometimes I still fuck it up. It's like, I'm just like, what is the goal? Okay, the goal is to cook the meat. You get what I'm saying? So it don't matter as long as the meat is cooked. Like, that's me. That's my mind, And it's like, so it don't matter what order you put the patties in. It don't matter, which way you flip them. It don't matter as long as they're cooked and they're done and you're not going to kill anybody and it's up to food safety. Then what the fuck does the shit matter how the patties is put, And apparently it does, apparently it's a big thing, like the patties have to be put down in a specific order and they have to be lifted in a specific order and all this over-organized bullshit in my mind. And I'm just like, I would never get fed at my own house if I had to cook like this, you know, like, because I would be like, did I do it right? You know, like, and so I didn't, and I would try to remember, like, when when one of the general managers, she kind of retrained me on grill one day. She's like, you're doing this wrong. And I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong? And she's like, you have to put the patties down in this order, and then you have to remember what order you put them down in, and you have to pick them back up in the same order. And I was just like, this is my mind. Like, I hate to be like this, but I'm like I said, I'm gonna be honest on my channel, and I was just like, that's bullshit. Like, that's what went through my head, is like, that's bullshit. That's insane. Like, oh my God, you know, that patty, because it was the first patty put down, it's been down for 5 more seconds than the last patty that I put down. So, oh my God, so I have to pick up the first patty that I put down first, you know? Like, that's just insane to me. Like, you know. So anyways, at least to say, you know, I wasn't that great. Like, and like, once I learned to do something one way, it's really hard for me to learn to do it a different way. And that's the reason, like even when my husband, like, he would see me doing stuff around the house, and he's like, you're doing that the wrong way or the hard way or whatever. And he got on to me, like, for the way I was hanging pictures when me and him was together. And I was like, okay, you show me how to do it. And granted, he got the anchors and the screws in the wall, like, in, you know, 5 seconds flat, where me, it's like, I'm very precise, and it would take me like 2 minutes, you know, and everything. But I about died, because when he hung the picture, it was crooked as a dog's hind leg. And I was like, I was like, who does what wrong? I was like, who did what wrong? I was like, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, yeah, you know, I was like, I was like, at least when I hang shit, it's straight. I was like, it ain't crooked. I was like, because I take time to actually measure. And so I'm just, I don't know. But I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, oh, maybe you should look into, you know, special needs children, helping take care of them, you know, and maybe you should look into working at a nursing home and all kinds of stuff like that. But I don't see myself doing stuff like that. And then this morning, oh my God, and I fucking hate this about myself. And I've said in a previous video how I'm pretty sure that I probably had, like, a mini stroke, like, a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago now. Because I woke up, I had a horrible night. The neighbor beat on the wall and screamed at me. And then I got really angry, and I didn't do anything back. And I laid there, and I could literally feel my heart racing. And then, like, it just felt like something just snapped in my heart, kind of like, you know. And I was just like, oh God. And, like, I got nauseous. And then I forced myself to go to sleep. And then when I got up, it's like my whole left side, it's like I couldn't, it would function, but it's like it was delayed. And it's like I couldn't get to the couch from my bed. And I had to lean up against the wall, and then I had to lean on the chair of the dining room table to get in here. And then I sat here and I cried. And my head hurt. Oh my God. My head hurt for a full fucking week. I was taking Tylenol around the clock, and I never went to the doctor for it because I don't have any health insurance, and that's just like my fucking ankle that I fell and busted here on a piece of PVC pipe that the landlord left outside, and I didn't go to the doctor for that, and that's fucked up my ankle, and it's fucked up my other ankle because I'm having to put more weight on it and stand on it and be more balanced on it, and then, like, it's even led up to my fucking, my femur bone hurting, and I'm like, okay, is it bowing because my ankle's fucked up so bad, or what's the deal? And, like, I don't know why I'm alive if I can't serve the purpose of God, I guess is the best way to put it. If I can't serve my purpose, and I can't ever find out what my purpose truly is, then I don't know why the hell I'm alive. And then I sit here and I watch videos like I did last night about people that, people that are special needs and stuff like that. And you know, some of them have good lives, and some of them have people that care about them and take care of them and this and that and everything, you know. But then there's the ones that they don't have a life, you know, that are bedridden and stuff. And you know, what is it? There was this miracle girl, like, I remember watching a TV series shot on her a long time ago that, like, people were like, oh, you know, she brings goodness and angels and this and that. But anyways, it was like she was a vegetable, like she was bedridden, and people would travel to her house and, like, you know, like see her and visit her so that way like good things would happen to them and stuff like that. And I mean, that's awesome that they felt that way and everything and stuff like that. And that's awesome that, you know, like that there was that purpose, I guess you could say, for that child's existence and everything. But these other children that are bedridden and everything, I'm thinking, Lord, please let something happen for them, you know. And like, and then I feel bad, like I feel like I'm like being greedy, and then I feel like I'm not pushing myself hard enough. But then I'm like, but I'm trying so damn hard, and my health, you know. And so that's another thing too. It's like, I've always loved to sing. I've always loved to dance. I've always loved to write poetry. And I actually had this notebook when I was like 17, like right around the time that I had my kid, like right after, like, you know, 17, 18. And it was full. I mean, packed full of songs and poetry and all kinds of shit. And I ain't even gonna fucking lie. There is songs that I've heard out on the radio and I'm like, you fucking bitch. That's my song. And that sounds crazy. But I'm like, I know that song and I know I wrote it. And I can tell you why I wrote it. And I can tell you the full story behind it. If you would listen, you know, and know that there's an in detail, you know. And then, like, that's another thing too about INFPs is we use like metaphors a lot and stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I hate you. Here you are, somebody, you know, well off. You're making this fucking money. You stole my fucking song. You know, and I'm just like, and here I am broke as fuck, and I don't even have medical insurance to take care of myself, much less my damn kid. And I hate to even put that out here in a video because it makes me feel like shit, because I know how people are about stuff like that. They're like, no, you know, and you're crazy, boy, you are crazy, and you think you wrote a song, you know. But I know is the best way to word it. And I'm not going to sit here and even list the songs because that's how in the know I am of how bad people are and how mean they are and everything. And I don't want the backlash of it. So I want this to end here if somebody sees this. Don't be like, what was the songs? You know, don't do that to me. Like, please, it'll break my heart because it's done broke my heart a lot. And so I threw away the notebook because I gave up hope on myself. And I remember I went out to get the notebook out of the trash because I just set it on top of the trash, like the trash bag. And I went out to go get it the very next day because my friend talked me out of it and it wasn't in the trash anymore. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And I used to get on the phone and sing songs to her and stuff and everything. And she'd be like, oh, that's really good. That's really good, you know, and everything. And so now I have a notebook and I write stuff in it. And then I've had, like, my landlord, like, I wrote some things and I would leave them sitting out. And I would go, like, well, not around her, but she would be out and about and she would say things that I'm like, you read that sheet of paper. You read that was wrote down in my home when you came in my home, when you used to have access before I bought the key, you know, or not the key, but the lock on the gate to lock you out, you know. And I'm just like, that's bullshit, you know. And I'm like, why would people do that to me? And not only that, there's a book that has turned into a popular children's series over the past decade or whatever. And It was a spin-off from a book that I wrote in high school in my child development class. It was our end of class, like last final test or whatever, and we had to write a children's book, and I wrote a children's book. And this woman wouldn't return my book to me and was going to throw it in the trash, or I had to sign it over for her to give to her friend for them to publish it to see if they could make a run with it, even though I wasn't going to receive any money for it. And so I signed it over because I didn't want it to be thrown away because I worked really hard on it. And then to see that book years later and to know that that's my book, and then to read the other books that follow in the series after, and I'm like, anybody with half a brain could tell that the first story and the second story is written by two completely different people. And I'm just like, I fucking hate people. People are so greedy and disgusting. And so I have this notebook now that I've wrote stuff in, but because of my lack of not being in school and the fact that I had a mini stroke, and I think I've actually had more than one over the past decade, the past few years and everything, and just, your environment deals with your education, like that's like you can take an infant probably and put an infant in a home, for people with special needs, children with special needs. You can take a perfectly well infant you could even take one that's a genius and put it in a room, and raise it, or in a home. Put it in a home with special needs children, and it's only going to go so far because it's only going to be able to learn what it can from its environment. And that's kind of been a little bit of the case that I'm in, is I can't learn outside of this environment that I'm in because I'm just fucking stuck in it. And every time I try to, it's like I'm around, people that just, they've learned how to master getting their environmental, needs and everything, and I can't, like, I'm doing the best I can, I guess is the best way to word it. I don't know, this might sound really fucked up, like this whole video and the previous video might sound really fucked up to people, but I really don't give a shit. But I have this notebook that I've wrote stuff in, and it's nothing in comparison to the stuff that I've wrote that I threw away when I was a teenager. And I mean, can you imagine, like, saying that you wrote a really good song, and then you're going through emotional abuse, and your dad's telling you you're a piece of shit every fucking day, and you think to yourself, I'm never going to get out to be able to record this. And, like, you used to think, like, I'm going to get out and I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to be like, at least, go buy me some time, at a studio, even if it's just for me to make my own personal CD to just show my parents, and it's kind of that whole, let's show them type mentality and stuff. And, it's like, so you're like, I'm going to be like, that with my parents. And your parents never help you get a job. And they don't care if you ever get a job. And they don't want you to better yourself is the best way to word it. It's almost like the same thing that I feel like my kid's dad done with me. It's like everybody wants to piggyback on something good. They see something good and they're like, they want the goodness. And instead of helping you be good, and sorry, my throat just, instead of helping you be good and being like, we're going to be supportive and we're going to help you be good at what God made you good at. And we're going to help you, and we're going to, like, fund you, or don't even have to fund you, but just be supportive emotionally. Instead, it's like, no, we're going to be jealous and be like, why did God do that to her and why not me? instead of you sitting there and figuring out your own shit and what you're good at yourself. Because I firmly believe everybody's good at something. And I'm not saying that like I'm a awesome, lyricist or what the fuck ever, and I'm not an awesome, I'm not sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, I'm the best of the best. But all I can say is that there is a song that was very, 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 very fucking popular over the past years, and I'm just like, you female fucking whore cunt bitch, you're sitting there on top of the fucking mountain, if you will, all this money, and I can't even pay for my fucking kid to have the spinal tap done to see if she has a cartilage disease. Or to get my tooth pulled. Or to get my wisdom teeth cut out. Or my ankle fixed. Or for my kid to even have a decent fucking bed. And I'm just like, like in the back of my head, I'm like, I hate to be condemning of people, but I'm like, this bitch is going to go to hell when she dies. I'm like, she's going to go to hell when she dies. And then I've thought, well, maybe she didn't know. But then I'm like, she has to have known because she sits there and she says that she wrote the song. And I'm like, and I know she didn't, And then I've thought, like, about, what is it? Like, dealing with, all kinds of spiritual stuff. I'm like, it has made me so paranoid that I've sat there and I've literally picked myself apart. And I'm like, okay, did I just dream it? And I dreamt it at the same time that they did, and that's the reason I feel like. But I can literally remember sitting on my back porch with a fucking notebook and my daughter being asleep in her fucking playpen and writing the shit. And then calling my friend and being like, hey, how's this sound? Hey, how does that sound? Oh my God, this rhymes. Do you think that's good? Does that sound good? Would you understand what that meant? Because I'm all about metaphors and stuff. And so if you were a regular Joe, do you think you would get this? And she's like, yeah, that's great and everything. And so I've just had people suffocate me and stifle me and steal from me. I've had a lot of people steal from me. And I am so sick of it, and I don't know how to get away from people that want to do that to me. And then that's even like I've claimed in another video and said in another video, my kid's dad, his most recent child is named after the child, like literally, it's the name that I picked out for the child that I miscarried. He didn't think of the name. The girl didn't think of the name. They stole the name. I had a miscarriage, and then a few years later, he got this girl pregnant, and he named the baby the name that I picked out. And people do that shit to me all the time, and I'm like, can I just fucking die yet? And so I said, I have this notebook now that I write stuff in, and I'm embarrassed because it's not up to the standards of what I had written in the past. And I'm like, it's not that good, and I'm just emotionally, beat down, I guess, and how could you not be if you've lived through that shit, And then that's like even my parents taking my kid from me. They took my kid from me in December. Well, September is when my niece's birthday is. And I'd been telling my kid about it. My kid believed me. And whether she does now or not, I don't know anymore. But my kid believed me about the whole, songs being stole and stuff. And my dad, the thing is my dad would play this one song all the time. And I'm like, did he do it? Did he go out and find that notebook, and did he sell my music to somebody? Because he would play this one song that became very popular, that would have made the most money, I guess you'd say, that would have been a song that I wrote. He's played it back to back to back on TV, like he would go into On Demand and play the video over and 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 over again whenever I would be over at his house, and I'm just like, does he want me to cry? Does he want me to snap? Does he want me to say something to him? Does he want me to say, that's my song, you might think I'm crazy, fuck you, so that way he can be like, yeah, you're crazy and we're going to have you locked up. So I've not said anything And I've just dealt with that torment. And then I'm like, or did my kid tell him? And so he's like, yeah, right, my child's, not smart enough to. And so I don't know why he's done that. Or I don't know if it's just the devil on my ass or what the fucking deal is. But back to my niece and her birthday. So I've not shown my parents any type of art, I guess you'd say, that I've done. They seen me when I was in choir, and I remember this one performance. My dad actually came to the show, and we sung Stupid Cupid, and we had a little bit of a dance move that we had to do to it, and, all I had clean that day was a fucking red bra, and we had to wear white shirts, and even though I had a white tank top on up underneath and then the white shirt, you could still see a pink hue, of a bra, for as far as I've heard from everybody. And so, but even at that, I felt that I performed really good, and that all of us girls performed really good whenever we, sung the song and stuff and everything. And my dad even went up to my choir, leader, I can't think like my mind, to my teacher, and I don't know why I called him that, my mind, because there's somebody honking outside and the dog's fucking growling now. But he went up to him and he gave him $20 after the performance and was like, here, this is for anything that they may need. I really appreciate what you're doing with them. You're doing a good job with them, or whatever. And I can tell that my daughter's really happy up there on stage, or some shit like that. And, it's not like I'm somebody that's sitting here that's like, oh, I did take a zoology class, but it's not like I'm somebody sitting here that's never been in choir or any type of music or any type of anything, and I'm just like, I'm talented at this, like somebody that's insane. I am talented at this, but I'm going to have to end this video and start up another one because it's at 56 minutes. So I'll continue in the next video.